Meanwhile, Joseph was led into Egypt. And Potiphar, a eunuch of Pharaoh, a leader of the army, an Egyptian man, purchased him from the hand of the Ishmaelites, by whom he was brought. And the Lord was with him, and he was a man who prospered in everything that he did. And he lived in the house of his Lord, who knew very well that the Lord was with him, and that all the things that were done by him were directed by his hand. And Joseph found favor in the sight of his Lord, and he ministered to him. And having been placed in charge of everything by him, he governed the house that was entrusted to him and all the things that had been delivered to him. And the Lord blessed the house of the Egyptian, because of Joseph, and he multiplied all his substance, as much in the buildings as in the fields. Neither did he know anything other than the bread that he ate. Now Joseph was beautiful in form, and stately in appearance. And so, after many days, his mistress cast her eyes on Joseph, and she said, "Sleep with me." And without consenting at all to the wicked act, he said to her, "Behold, my Lord has delivered all things to me, and he does not know what he has in his own house. Neither is there anything which is not in my power, or that he has not delivered to me, except you, for you are his wife. How then can I do this evil act and sin against my God?" With such words as these, throughout each day, the woman was pestering the young man, and he was refusing the adultery. Then it happened, on a certain day, that Joseph entered the house, and he was doing something, without any witnesses. And she, grasping the hem of his garment, said, "Sleep with me." But he, leaving behind the cloak in her hand, fled and went outside. And when the woman saw the garment in her hands and herself being treated with disrespect, she called to herself the men of her house, and she said to them, "Lo, he has brought in a Hebrew man to abuse us. He entered toward me, in order to join with me, and when I had shouted out, and he had heard my voice, he left behind the cloak that I held, and he fled outside." As a proof, therefore, of her fidelity, she retained the cloak, and she showed it to her husband, when he returned home. And she said, "The Hebrew servant, whom you have brought in to me, approached me to abuse me. And when he had heard me cry out, he left behind the cloak that I held, and he fled outside." His lord, upon hearing these things, and having excessive trust in the words of his mate, was very angry. And he delivered Joseph into prison, where the prisoners of the king were kept, and he was enclosed in that place. But the Lord was with Joseph, and having mercy on him, he gave him favor in the sight of the leader of the prison, who delivered into his hand all the prisoners who were held in custody. And whatever was done was under him. Neither did he himself know anything, having entrusted all things to him. For the Lord was with him, and he directed everything that he did.